Hey, speaking of imagination, hi, good morning, welcome, Doodle Crew. Happy Saturday morning cartoons. We are back. We're excited to be here with you on another lovely Saturday morning. So I have lovely artists here with me joining, and I am very excited about this prompt today because we are not only taking our Saturday morning cartoons, but we are adding in the lovely Hugh-vember, and we are playing with characters that have a very specific color palette, specifically a limited color palette. So we're going to go around, introduce yourself as the artist, where people can find you, and tell us about the character that you picked. Mayor Squish, you're up first.
Hello, I'm Mayor Squish. You can find me pretty much everywhere at Mayor Squish or Mayor Squish Art, because apparently some people really like my name and they stole it, so that's fun. But today I'm gonna be attempting to paint Shego from Kim Possible.
Yeah.
I put a reference picture down here in case someone doesn't know who she is, but yeah, she's green and black, and I dig it.
Yeah. No, her design is also just so good. Like I enjoy her very much.
Oh, and her glowy hands, it's the best.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I'm excited. And Megan, welcome.
Hi. So I'm Megan Cook. You can find me across the web at pretty much Megan C Creates and most of my socials. I think on Facebook it's actually Megan Cook Creates. And today I got an idea to do Ariel's sisters from the Little Mermaid because they all each have their color, but just because to change it up, I'm doing them as like human versions in a car, being all like sassy. So
yeah. Here for the sassiness. I love it. And just because I want to mention it at the top and at the bottom, you've got a Kickstarter that's still going.
I do. We are in the home stretch for the Kawaii Year of the Tiger Kickstarter. So it ends on the 23rd at noon. So there's still time to grab a pin.
Yay! So I have dropped the link in chat if anybody is interested in supporting that. If not, if you don't have the money to do it now, share it out. Let other people know. Maybe someone else is looking for the adorbs. I know I am. So yeah, I'm also Swan. I am a swan named Emily everywhere across the internet, and I'm pulling it back. I went back and forth. I almost did Sailor Moon, but I landed on Rainbow Brite because let's be real, I love it. And she had a lovely group of kids who are her helpers, her friends. I don't totally understand the dynamics of the Rainbow Brite universe, but I have picked Lala Orange and Shy Violet, which are their actual names. So these lovely little Violet and Orange are going to be my two colors today, but I'm going to not draw them in the creepy proportions that they came in. I'm going to draw them in my style. So, yeah. All right. And I started sketching the other night, but I didn't like it, which is why you see this now mangled sketch that I'm going to draw on top of. I kind of liked it. I liked it a little bit.
At least it's a good starting point. I haven't even like drawn the outfits on these girls, and I'm like, that's gonna be what's so time consuming, and I should have had that done already. Oh well.
Once again, as I was streaming yesterday, I had that moment where I was like, oh my gosh, tomorrow is Saturday and I have to draw. Am I ready? I don't think I'm ready. Oh well. That's how we do it here. Also, I'm so happy that we have done this at least 11 a.m. for Eastern Standard Time, because the one week when we tried to do it at 10, like 10 on a Saturday sneaks up on you. And I'm just like, Hebe says, I was going to draw Sailor Moon, but I decided to draw the other thing I always draw instead to switch it up. Thank you.
Well, to be fair, I thought Sailor Moon too, and I'm like, nah, I can't be always drawing that. I really can't.
Well, and so confession, this was like when I very first thought of this idea, my immediate go-to was going to be a lot of the characters from Steven Universe, because the gems are all like, they all have these gorgeous color palettes all in kind of one tone. But as I still have not watched Steven Universe yet, I'm like, I can't draw that. I don't know it. I know. You can, I deserve the shame. I do. I know. It's on the list.
The very long to be watched list.
God, it's such a long list. It's such a long list. Also, Hebe, I'm going to take this as my personal crusade to ignore that weird update that has almost no art available for it online for the reboot of Rainbow Brite and just submit my own designs. Hire me. I will do character designs for an additional Rainbow Brite reboot. I will admit, I was very, very tempted because I love the show. Like, I love it more than I should because it's a children's show. And not even like, hey, Steven Universe is a children's show. No, this is legit kids show. But the Lego Elves, I loved so much. And I almost drew them, but I'm like, nobody is gonna know what this is because it had like one season. And the toys don't even look like the characters in the show. So, yeah. But it's done by Studio Mir, which is one of my all-time favorites. So,
all right, I gotta Google this because I don't know what this is.
Oh, it's so
Lego Elves.
Megan, the designs are so good. I love them. And they're like magic girl, like they're elves with different like elemental powers, and there's like transportation to a magical realm from the real world. It's all the things I love.
How have I never seen this before? What?
You are welcome. It was on Netflix. I don't know if it still is, but it was.
When did this come out?
Oh gosh, a couple years ago.
Oh my god.
It was definitely in the before times.
That's like right up my magical girl like genre alley. Oh my god.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Also, I think one of the main girls' names is Emily, so I'm a sucker for a character that I like that's got my name. I have something in my eye. Yeah. I'm so happy. I should have just drawn them. I'm so happy I'm blowing your mind right now with this. But I was like, literally nobody, like I talked to Randall about this, but nobody knows about this show.
They must have failed with marketing because I mean, a few years back, I was on Netflix like all the time and I have never seen this.
Yep. Yeah. But again, if you look it up, all of the Legos look like Legos. They don't look like that. So it's funny.
That is bizarre. Okay, so here's, I assume this is the toy. Oh, but they still got pretty elements. Oh,
oh yeah, they're definitely well done.
Nice.
But you know me, I want this. I want like a little this is what I want. This is the toy that I want.
Yeah, if you're gonna go all there, that's what you need to. Yeah. Need some special toys. Need some action figures.
Yes. Oh, Steven Universe is on HBO. Okay, that's good to know. Ah. So Soapbox Klutz says the theme launched in 2015 and was discontinued in 2019. Okay.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's got like the bad guy who's struggling to maybe be a good guy, and oh my god, it is so like tropey, and I loved every minute of it. So if you watch it, you'll have to text me because I need to know. I need to know what you think.
I'm gonna have to find it outside of Netflix though, because we don't carry Netflix anymore. The streaming companies have made us had to decide because the whole point was not to pay as much as cable. So we can't like buy 5 subscriptions to 5 different streaming services. It doesn't make sense.
Yep. Yeah, my main ones are Netflix and Amazon Prime, but also Amazon Prime because, you know, I order stuff. So
yep, that makes sense. We switched to Hulu because Sailor Moon.
This makes complete sense. Hi, Kat. Yeah, I know my family was going through the same thing because they're like, what do we actually watch stuff on? Like, let's just keep those because we don't need 8 different services. And I mean, obviously Disney Plus, because I could watch Disney movies every day. Hi, hello.
I think we do pretty much watch Disney something every day.
Did you want to come up? Okay. Hello.
Oh.
Hello. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for your tail right in my face. That's so nice of you. I gotta say though, Megan, I love the poses. Like it's so sisterly. It just it works so well. Excuse me.
Thank you.
Not where you belong.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out this is why I didn't get too far in this sketch is one, in my head, I know there's the one scene in the movies that I had to rewatch where they each say their names, but like I don't retain who's who.
No.
And then I know nothing about their personalities because I never watched the prequel, which apparently changes things according to Disney Wiki.
Yeah, it's not good.
I think that's why I've never seen it, because I was just like, no, thank you. But
yeah. I mean, I know they've all got like A names.
But yeah, I wrote it all down. It's Atina, Alana, Adela, Arista, Andrina, and Aquata, which Andrina and Aquata were the only ones that stuck in my brain from childhood.
Yeah. I remember the song, but I don't think I ever actually said their names. I just kind of made the ha 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 sound along with it. So.
Oh, and fun fact, they actually pan away from the girls for like 3 of them. So that's helpful.
Thank you so much. Hi. Yes, thank you so much. Hi there. Hi. Yeah. How are we doing today?
She's like, I just want to be right here. I need to be the center of attention right now.
You have a cold nose. Yeah, you do. You're very lucky I'm getting good at this drawing with one hand thing. Also, my left arm is going to be so ripped from holding you. Get my 10-pound lifts in. Too funny. I don't remember having a child, but...
Well, you got a cat. It's practically the same thing.
I had to hold something like this since my sister, and that was a long time ago. It's going to be interesting when I take this away and see if it actually makes sense the way I drew it. Yeah, no, back to Hebe's point, you were kind of saying, oh, hi, oh, hi, oh, hi. Oh, thank you for not ripping my headphones out of my head just then. What is it? We almost went full murder cat in the window this morning. She wanted to wreck those squirrels that were out there. Let me at them. Let me at them. Like, I can't do that, baby.
Something offended my dog last night. Speaking of pets and murders and things, something offended my dog last night when I let him out at bedtime. And it's like, okay, go do your business, come back in because I'm ready to go lay down. And he's out there not barking like an alarm bark. He's just like woofing and growling at something. And I'm like, dog, like I got the flashlight, I'm shining around. I'm like, dog, there's nothing out there. And he's like, no, I'm offended by this thing that you can't see. And I'm like, no, I'm going to bed. Either you're coming inside or not, but I'm going to bed.
Yeah. I realized at a certain point, I'm like, I'm too tired. Just let them take me. It's okay. just let them have me. It's fine.
It's fine.
I just want to sleep. Oh, it's funny. Oh, Nicole, I love the face. It's so good.
She's very angry.
She is. I love it too because... Oh, so Gary, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, we love everyone's favorite angry girl, Shego.
Oh, yeah. I love it too because usually when she gets that mad, it's at the doctor, the professor. What's his name?
Dr. Draken.
Yeah, like she's mad at him. Like she's not even that mad at Kim Possible. She's just like, I'm so frustrated at your incompetence, which I can appreciate. All right, there you go. Yeah, I like that a little bit better. Something very weird with her ankle there. All right. It's always funny to me too, thinking of, I'll say, Compossible specifically, because you've got Shego, who has that so stark color palette, but I feel like Ron and Kim and even some of the other characters, like they all have a fairly colorful palette. Like they don't feel like they land quite as much in just one tone. So I think it's neat when you have a show that's got like that kind of balance.
Yeah, it's interesting too because none of their other enemies really go the monochromatic route.
I like that better. Yeah, to your point, Soapbox Clots, I have like once in a while, if I really want to watch something, I'll have, you know, a friend who has access to one of them and be like, can I just borrow it to watch this one thing? So. Thankfully, I have kind friends. So I have a stupid question for you, Nicole. Are there any of the streaming services that you can't get where you are? I mean, obviously, no distribution.
So many.
Okay.
We don't have Hulu. We don't have HBO Max. We don't have, what is it, like the CW app? Just so many. Basically, we have Amazon Prime. We have our localized version of it, so we don't get the same stuff.
Okay.
Which is pretty much the same with all streaming platforms. We have Disney Plus and Netflix. Okay. And that's about it. We have our like local like news station stuff and like public TV stuff, but Yeah.
That's frustrating.
Oh yeah, it is.
That makes me feel better. Wasn't as stupid of a question as I thought.
No, not at all.
Well, I remember you and Paul talking about when you were covering certain shows on Crash Test Pilots, like if you were going to be able to watch them or if they weren't on a streaming service that you had access to. And it's a whole thing.
Yeah, though the interesting thing is that for me, where I am, Netflix has a lot of Disney stuff too. So it's not an exclusive thing here.
Interesting.
And also, I found out recently, Disney Plus has a lot of the Stars stuff.
Okay.
So like they will have movies like Die Hard on there, and I'm just like, okay, that doesn't seem very Disney, but I'll take it.
Yeah. All right.
It's interesting. I don't know.
I mean, Bruce Willis kind of is a Disney princess, so.
Fair enough.
I guess maybe John McClane is a Disney princess. I don't know about Bruce Willis. Oh gosh. But I always think it's funny that, I mean, again, after the first Die Hard movie, I don't know that they certainly don't get better as there's more of them. But one of my favorites was 4, and it was because it's Justin Long and Kevin Smith. Like, they're my favorite parts of that movie. It's not Bruce Willis. So. I think I'm happy with this. Excuse me. The same? Not the same. Sneaky, sneaky. Get that. No. Also, I think it's kind of a funny thing where I grew up on shows like this, you know, Rainbow Brite, Sailor Moon, but even a lot of, you know, the Disney stuff, like all of these shows that had the most amazing, gorgeous color palettes, and I retained none of it for my own art. Like, I know we talked about it, I think the last episode when we did another Hue challenge, like, it just, the color theory just did not stick with me, as I wish it would have.
Honestly, TikTok has taught me a lot about color theory. It's wild. It's so wild.
It really is. And it's like, it was fun when we were, so it's one of the episodes that's going to come out for the podcast. We talk about TikTok, but it's like some of the stuff I've learned on there is legit. Like, it's helpful thing. Like, and I know it's stuff I probably should have learned at some point and just didn't. And I'm like I'm really grateful for this stupid app and people sharing these things. It's very strange. I have such mixed feelings.
Well, last night, like I was on TikTok and I found this girl that posted, here's something I've learned after using Procreate for 3 years. And I'm like, okay, little tips and tricks or whatever. And all the little tips she had, like moving layers and stuff. And I'm like, there was only one that I knew you could do. And I was like, oh, okay. Like the only thing she did was like how to make a perfect circle. And I'm like, yeah, I saw that in somebody else's video. But I'm like,
yeah,
oh, like there's other things you could do. And I was like, okay. Like apparently there's a quick menu you could set up, and don't ask me how because I don't remember because I was half asleep, scrolling through TikTok. But yeah, there's stuff on that app that's just like, this is extremely helpful. And why am I on a social media like quick app to find it?
I know it.
Like, how does that happen?
Yep. And those are ones where like I find them so helpful. I'll actually like save and download the video. So I have all these random TikToks saved in my gallery on my phone because I'm just like, no, I'll never be able to find it again. And this information was really good. Yeah. TikTok. What have you done to me? But yeah, like the artist side of TikTok is so cool because there's so much. They're just like, yeah, here's this thing that I do. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? Yeah, I think obviously I haven't had as much time to play in Procreate, but even just teaching it over the summer, obviously I was teaching it to much smaller children, so we weren't getting into a lot of the nitty-gritty, but even as I was messing around in it, I was like, this is doing that Photoshop thing where it's just, there's so much to it and you are only scratching the surface, utilizing some of it. And
that
yes,
is
CB,
so
also that. Yeah, TikTok has also ruined my brain because now I have these little snippets of language and music that just play in my head incessantly.
So the Oh No track from TikTok that everybody knows, that has literally been my life's playlist for probably the last 3 weeks. Like anytime something bad happens, that automatically plays in my brain. And I'm like, yep. Or disappointing. It doesn't have to be bad, like bad stuff, whatever. It's just like, I dropped something. Oh no. It just plays.
Yep. Yep. There was one I saw recently, though, where a guy was very angrily talking about how he's like, no, you give me these little snippets and the songs sound like bangers. And then I listen to the whole song and it's crap. It's like, I love it. But also, yes. Yep. Our table is broken is one that gets me.
I tried to reference that on Webtoon in a comment and somebody took offense to it.
What?
I don't know. I don't know. Okay, so there was this a funny weird comic I found that's like the Duke of Hell gives dating advice or something along those lines. So it's a completely absolutely ridiculous comic that has a semi-serious underlying story where a guy summons a demon to get dating advice, basically, and the demon's like, what? Are you serious? So there's a scene where somebody's training, a typical anime training scene where they blow up half of a forest, and I go, oh no, the sacred forest is broken, and somebody like down thumbed my comment and was like, that's not funny.
But it is funny. Ugh.
It's a little bit funny. If you knew what I was referencing, you probably would have thought it was funny. It's fine. This is fine.
People. Yeah, I have the speaking of that, it's like, ew. I'm like, what? People. Like that one plays in my head often whenever I go outside now. I'm like, oh. Hebe says the person who thumbs downed you is probably a hyper weeb. It's just one of those. Yeah. Who says TikTok is normie humor. Hebe, you're not wrong. You're not wrong on any of that.
I definitely do not amuse hyper weebs. I have learned this through the convention circuit.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was like, oh no. Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Life is not that serious. It is not that serious.
Not that serious. I promise. Okay. Yeah, I don't even remember what the conversation was about. I just remember, obviously, I'd gotten talking about anime, so I was talking about watching Sailor Moon because it's a big part of my history. And like someone at convention who'd been flipping through my stuff, like just kind of looked up, disgusted, and then just walked away. I was like, all right, well, I'm sorry. You don't have to watch it.
Forgive my magical girl propaganda. My bad.
Yeah. But just so you know, as they're like walking away down the hall, I'm like, this is the hill I die on. Okay, bye.
There weren't a lot of options in the 90s, but you do you.
Seriously. Hebe says, speaking as a giant weeaboo, some of the things in one of my anime discords where they show disdain for things just because they're popular, it drives me nuts. Yes. Anime is practically entirely magic girl propaganda now. Like, also, I think that's the thing that blows my mind when it comes to anime fans. There's literally so much out there. If you like a thing, there's probably an anime for it. Like, why are you don't have to watch my stuff. I don't have to watch your stuff. What? People.
It's because people are like, you know, you like what I like, and if you don't like what I like, then I don't like what you like, and nah. It's like, yeah, it's really, we can just get along, but okay.
Just imagine you sitting there like, how can my child understand this concept better than you? She's not even fully formed yet.
Like, you know, some people like tomato sauce, some people like Alfredo, some people don't like either. It's okay. We can all like noodles or not. Who cares?
Exactly. I do like noodles. That's true.
On the subject of anime and conventions, though, I do feel bad sometimes when people are like, list anime that's come out in like the last 5 years, and I'm just like, I am out of the loop, guys. I am so out of the loop.
That's a no for me. My students do that to me constantly. They're like, have you watched this, Miss Emily? I'm like, sure haven't. I was like, also, to be fair, guys, I don't watch anything. So get out of here, future skeleton, with your ew noodles. Get out of here.
What?
Also, I'm with Soapbox Klotz. Love some hot nudes. Spaghetti can rot. Wow, I did not realize the pot we were stirring with the spaghetti discourse.
I knew.
Just like, yep. Here we go.
All right. We can all agree on anime. How about noodles?
Oh my god. It's too funny. Yeah, that's kind of how shoes work. We're gonna come back to that. I love when I'm so I have a sketch and I'm inking over it, you know, whether it's digitally or traditionally, and I'm like, wow, that was a really good sketch. Those lines were really good. And then I completely disregard them, when I'm inking and go over in some other lines that are not as good. I'm like, why'd you do that though? It was good. You just had to draw literally over it again. Okay.
Your brain had a different opinion.
Brain is very opinionated, and I'm not here for it today. Also, okay, I'm sorry. There's more happening in the penne, tortellini, or rotini. Fight me. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I don't like traditional regular spaghetti noodles. I like the fine, the super fine, or the angel hair. But if they are, like, I don't know, it's different when it's in lo mein. Like, Asian noodles are just different and better. Yeah.
Whole other category.
Yeah. Also, I like the May Fun. I like the egg noodle. Noodle. I also like the word noodle.
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 Oh my gosh. Speaking of things that live rent-free in my head. So it wasn't even something I actually saw on Tumblr. It was one of those, I follow a Tumblr page on Facebook. So I see like the screenshots of Tumblr conversations. And it's this little anecdote where someone was staying in a hotel that had very thin walls. And the person in the room next to them was watching, I think it was like Sesame Street or something like that. And they're talking about how they can kind of hear it, but it's apparently this clown or something. And he keeps trying to do things and he does them wrong. And the kids are like, no, Mr. Noodle, like this. And so he's listening to this whole thing and he's getting more frustrated. And then all of a sudden at one point he hears the person in the next room just go, God damn it, Mr. Noodle. And that lives in my head. I can't. God damn it, Mr. Noodle. Yep. There you go. No, that's my gift to you.
To be fair, anyone who had small children, or in my case, a small cousin who was into Elmo's world at the time, would understand how frustrating those are. Like, I know the point is to be funny and to like show kids how to follow directions, but oh my God, can't you just do it right the first time? Just do the thing.
Yep. Oh gosh, that's funny. Yeah, something I enjoyed about my sister is when she was little and she was watching Dora, she would actually get frustrated with Dora because she's like, it's right there, Dora. Don't ask me again. I'm just like, she's like, excuse me. Get your shit together, Dora. Yeah, Dora didn't last very long in our household. It's like, I can't with this Dora. Yes, Bean. Why, Mr. Noodle? But again, it's another one of those things where, like, if you call that out to people, no one knows what you're talking about. Like, oh, Hebe, thank you. Hebe redeemed Save Your Work because, hey, guess what? I've not saved anything yet. And hydrate and stretch. Oh, stretch
break.
Yeah. Just waiting for you to hear like the clunk or pop of my shoulder or my sternum. It's fine. I remember the first time like I stretched back and like it felt like the front of my chest popped and I was like, what was that? That wasn't my spine. What was that? It's fine. I am often made of pasta, Hebe, but also thank you for your concern. I did the thing last night where I would sleep really, really hard, like on my shoulder, on my one arm, and then my whole arm would go to sleep. And I woke up this morning, I'm like, man, my neck and my shoulders and my back are really, really sore. Oops.
The other morning I woke up, and I haven't really done this since I was a kid, but I was sleeping with my arms like all the way up, and I am still sore, and I don't understand why.
Why, body? Why?
I'm like, who sleeps like this on the pillow just like all night? I don't know what happened.
I think one of my favorite like realizations from having a partner who's sleeping in the same bed with me, and because I'd frequently fall asleep before him, and he came in the one night and he explained it to me the next day where like apparently I had like both of my arms kind of out to the side, but I was laying on my stomach, and he said like I was dead asleep, but he said he could watch the muscles in my back like contracting and like working as I was like forcing my head into the pillow. He's like, yeah, no wonder you have like shoulder and neck pain. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, hey, that's good to know.
Glad we cleared that up.
Yeah. It's like, what were you dreaming about? I'm like, I don't know. But that was also the one where he could literally come in and talk to me and he'd be like, yeah, you remember we talked about this last night? And I was like, no, we didn't. He's like, yeah, I came into the bedroom. We talked about it. I'm like, did I answer? He's like, yeah, kind of. And I was like, I wasn't awake. What did I say? Sleep is strange. Excuse me. All the coffee hiccups today. Megan, are you doing your own Christmas cards again this year? Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. I had intended to have them done already because Shutterfly is running a special up until the 21st. But I got kind of slammed with commissions, which is a great problem.
Yes.
And I woke up this morning and I'm like, I haven't done my Christmas cards. So I intend to, but I make no promises, I guess is my answer at the moment.
Nope, that's totally fair. I was talking about it before you got there yesterday, Nicole. How I was saying was like, no, Mayor Squish got a hold of me in August to talk about planning a date to get my cards done so that she's like, we could stream it together. Then you could get, I was like, this is a great idea. And then everything happened and I kept canceling on her. And now I'm like, yeah, this is why you never get these done, because it's now the end of November and you still haven't gotten them done. So she tried. She tried so hard to save me from myself.
I did.
She really did.
Are you going to be doing Christmas cards, Mayor?
Yeah. I'm going to be like actually painting them, which is kind of terrifying.
Have you started them yet?
Yeah, I started. So my Christmas cards actually kind of took me down a studying rabbit hole, because for my to-be in-laws, I wanted to paint them like snow-covered pine trees because they're really into nature. And so then I had to learn how to best do that in a medium that doesn't, allow for a stark white.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird in watercolor, but I figured it out, and then I got it done the other day, and now I'm like, what do I do for the other 14 people? I'll figure it out, I'm sure.
Oh, that's a lot of little paintings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's getting fast, though. Like, yeah. Also, good morning, Kruggles. Good morning. Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, I think it was seeing your Snapchat where you were doing those, and I was just like, oh yeah, I was going to do Christmas. Probably not. Well, and I know we had talked about it a little bit. I can't remember on which thing, but with with shipping and just getting things to people on time is going to be tricky this year. And like, I'm like, oh, that means I really need to, like, anything additional that I want to buy, I need to buy it now. So I have a month to wait for it to get here. And
oh yeah, I just had to have that conversation with one of my commissioners because she's getting and not only did I do the artwork, but she wants it in a standee, and my standees are produced overseas. And I was like, when she first asked for it at the end of October, I'm like, yeah, let's knock it out, let's get it done. And then she asked me for a second one. I'm like, whoo, crunch time. But you know, then I looked at the calendar to update my Etsy shop to be like, you know, here's the holiday dates, you know, and all this is up in the air, nothing's guaranteed, because I think it's going to be just as bad, if not worse, than last year.
yeah, no, I agree.
I am not looking forward to dealing with any of these shenanigans. And I looked at it and basically I was like, well, girl, the artwork's done, but just so you know, I know we kind of discussed how long this usually takes, but I absolutely cannot guarantee holiday delivery for this because we are literally 4 weeks away from the mailing deadline to ship things out, and production usually takes 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So I hope that wasn't your plan.
Which, I mean, for me, and I guess maybe I'm just weird with this, like, because I would celebrate holidays with a few different relatives, like, we never did it just on Christmas. So we'd get together usually then for New Year's and kind of have almost second Christmas when the relatives would come down and we'd open presents with them rather than them mailing them to us. Like, I never cared about getting presents later. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm getting more stuff. I am not sad about any of this, but I know some people... Yeah, second Christmas. I'm like, yes, more. But I know some people really want, like, they want to be able to have it for their kid to open that day. But I was also the kid. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I think it just depends on the people. Like, some people are, you know, very rigid, or they only have Christmas, or some people are like, yeah, I'm just glad you're getting me something. I don't care if it's on Christmas, you know.
How many are there? 36. Counted them myself. 36. Mm-hmm. I was also the kid who, like, you give me one, like, toy present as a kid, and I immediately open up and want to play with it. And my mom would be like, do you want to open more presents? I'm like, new toy. I don't understand the question, Mother. There's a new toy which needs to be played with. That's what we're doing.
Like, I am busy at the moment.
There is a new Sparkle Pony that needs to meet all the other Sparkle Ponies. This is what needs to happen right now. So weird that I grew up to be a strange adult after being such a normal kid. Party har har.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I think my little one's in the same boat, judging by Christmas last year was a pretty good indicator. And then her birthday, it was pretty much, no, I want to process this before I think about anything else in those boxes. And it's like, okay, well, we're going to be here a while.
Yep. Yeah, because we always did like special breakfast on Christmas, which usually we didn't eat until brunch time. You know, it would be like you'd open a bunch of the clothes or the not toy things. And then as we were getting closer to when Mom was going to go and make food, you know, then we would open whatever toy thing and like, okay, M's set for the next hour and I'm going to go make special breakfast. And, you know, we'll pick this back up in an hour.
Ooh, that's smart.
Yeah. The first time I really celebrated Christmas with my partner at the time's family, where there's a lot of them, like they would hand out all the gifts and then everybody would open all at the same time, all sitting in this huge circle. And I'm sitting there just like wide-eyed staring at everything. And my partner's like, "What's wrong with you?" And I'm like, "This is so weird." He's like, "What?" Because in my family, you get given a gift and everybody sits and watches you open it. And so I mean, again, there was 3 of us for a long time. So it could take a while and it didn't matter because there was 3 of us. But when there's 15 of you, like it was such a different experience. Thank you, Future Skeleton. Thank you. Apparently it's not normal. Finding more and more things out that are not normal.
Really? It's not? Because that's what I mean, I can't remember when we were kids. I think it was a free-for-all, but as we got older, that's how we did. I mean, there was only 2 of us. Is that, somebody would don a Santa hat and give out gifts, and it would be one at a time trying to, be even or whatever, unless somebody had a big gift,
Yep. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, not that we take a ton of photos or anything, but like, yeah, I want to see what the other people got, and I don't want to miss that, and I can wait to open mine. Yeah, it's very strange. But I also think that might be partially because, so when I was growing up, we would always go to my grandparents on Christmas Eve night, and then Christmas Day was always just my family. So we had the whole day. Like if there was snow, there'd be a plan to go out and play in the snow at some point, but the day was to just open gifts and play with stuff and hang out and relax. Like I never had to go anywhere else. So I don't know if you are working in, blended families where there's multiple relatives that you then, okay, by this time we have to go somewhere else. So everybody has to move through. Like maybe that's it, but
that's true. That was our case too, is Christmas was just in one spot. So like if we went anywhere or had the opportunity to spend it with family, like Christmas Eve was, and then Christmas was just the immediate family.
Now are you and Matt keeping that Christmas Day just you guys, or are you?
Well, I mean, if you go somewhere, go to visit one set of parents or anything, I mean, you can't really do that. But yeah, I guess that just stems from like not being local. Like can't really do that. Because I know I've had friends that said, they'd go pop over to grandma's house and then go home for Christmas morning and do that. Or they'd start at their house Christmas morning and then go over to an aunt's or an uncle's. Or like one friend I had they all lived in the same county. So they like hopped each house.
Okay.
So for us, if it's just us at home, it's one thing. Traveling's another.
Yeah. Especially with, significant distance. When I was growing up, like my grandparents lived 15 minutes away, so it wasn't a big travel.
True.
Also, so Kruggles in chat says, my grandmother made us open gifts separately too, so we could see how much better our older sister's presents were and know we were less loved.
Oh no.
Oh, it's heartbreaking. And yes, Bean, we are talking Christmas gift unwrapping. Future Skeleton says, also, though, I like to go back and forth because sometimes there are 1, 2, 3 presents, meaning everyone got the same present under the wrapping and you open at the count of 3. Yes, I like those. Because there's definitely ones I'll get that are, this is a mom and dad gift or this is a mom and Karen gift. Bean says, we just kind of had a free for all, but me and my little siblings would grab the gifts for our parents, give them to them. Yeah, like being the little Santa elf and giving out gifts was part of the fun as a kid. Yeah, but soon, Future Skeleton, you're going to be back to the the absolute insanity with tons and tons of people. Tens of people. You're gonna have
Tens of people.
Tens of people. I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do for her shoes. Yeah, it doesn't take much. That's that was me getting excited about the Thanksgiving traditions with the former partner I talked about, because he had oh my gosh, he had so many relatives. Like his dad was one of 8, and like his dad's dad was one of 8 or 9, like, and then people had gotten divorced, so there was new family, and it was just, there were so many humans. But that was like, so Thanksgiving morning was like one set, and then Thanksgiving afternoon was another set, and then Friday was, you know, a whole nother family that was an hour away, and then Saturday we do my family. So yeah, like Thanksgiving was just this multi-day extravaganza. But I also think there's something really fun and special when there's a wide age range. So you've got like toddlers up to, you know, like preteens, and then a whole group of, like, at this point 30-year-olds and adults, and then the grandparents, like, I guess parents and grandparents. That's a lot of fun. And at least for my house, and this is true even though there are not that many of us, there are usually at least 3 different conversations going. So it's very loud, and the music is playing, and sometimes like the TV will have like the Yule log on, and just like there's so much going on that I love it. I live for that chaos. Oh, say all 3 of my uncle's wives, which there's part of me that was like, is that one uncle with multiple wives, or is multiple uncles with multiple wives? With their kids. It was insane and awesome. Oh, okay. Oh, one uncle. So many wives. I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
Yeah, that was usually for us, is that Thanksgiving would be more of the, I guess that's why Christmas was usually just us, is like, I started thinking about it. I'm like, yeah, we didn't really do the Christmas Eve Christmas thing like past like early kid, but Thanksgiving was always the crazy, all the cousins and aunts and uncles and everybody gets together, and there's TV going and talking going and all that fun stuff.
Yeah. Which I think, I mean, obviously like the cooking is intense and that takes a lot, but I feel like it's still less to manage when presents aren't involved. Like the whole thing is the meal. So anything else you're doing can be games, and like, you know, a couple of adults can go and play games with the kids, and then a couple of adults can be cooking, and it, you know, that's
lot easier than the wrapping paper apocalypse that Christmas can become.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry, I'm still laughing about so many wives. Yep. Yeah, at one point with this family, I had to make my family like a family tree for reference, so that they knew, because there was obviously like there was extended family that I didn't even know that well, but for everybody that I was ever talking about, I made them a flow chart. I'm like, okay, this is this family, this is who we're going to go see, these are these kids that are attached to these people, then this whole thing is this family, and these are all the people there. Yep. Like, okay. All right, we got it.
Have I ever
feel
told?
like-
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Mayor.
I just wanted to say I feel like that's what I'm gonna have to do for Paul, because I have very, very many cousins.
I'd say
They all
he's got
have
a pretty
kids.
small family, right?
No, actually,
Okay.
yeah, he has kind of a scattered family. I kind of know of the most important people, but then for me, it's like I have 19 cousins,
Oh
and
my
like
gosh.
6 of them already have kids, and like it's a big mess. Anyway, I'm sorry.
No. I was curious. That's fun. Now, are all the cousins near, or have they moved?
I think one of them lives in Croatia, and the other one is like pretty far out in the country. But other than that, we're all in the same country, so that's at least something.
Yeah. Now, do any of those other countries, do any of them have weird, I mean, obviously, let's imagine it's not the time of COVID. Do they have any weird travel restrictions?
I don't think so. It's just like Croatia, it's kind of close, but it's kind of odd to get there.
Okay.
Because you really need a car. Most of the rest of Europe you can do by train. But I don't think there's anything that goes to Croatia. So it's really just an inconvenience more than anything.
Like 2 for you, Paris, 3 for you, Venice, none for you, Croatia.
Yep.
Yeah, I find it very interesting because not on my mom's side, but on my dad's side, it's like his second cousins and his dad's cousins, and those, like, there is a large extended family there. And much like you were saying with Paul's family, like, I know the ones who we are close with and like we would meet on a regular basis, but there are other ones who I'm just like, they're like, yep, this is this person, they live here. That's literally as much information as we have about them. I'm like, okay. Whereas, my mom's side, I have 4 cousins and my sister. And my sister and I are the bookends. I'm the oldest and she's the youngest. That's it. That's all there is.
I love that. You guys are the bookends of the cousins.
Yep. Yep. So I've got there's me. 1 year below me is another cousin. 1 year below him is another cousin. 2 years below him is another cousin. And then like 4 years? 4 or 6 years. I think it's 4. Above Karen is the other cousin, and then her. And that's it. So it's pretty funny. Yeah, gosh. I'm sitting here and I'm thinking back to like some of the really crazy Thanksgivings where we'd have, like both sets of my grandparents, usually my aunt and uncle that are in New York State as well, and like my dad's sister and all that, and just like there was a lot of us in my parents' house. So it was fun chaos. But also, those are the moments as a kid, if like the other cousins haven't gotten there yet, where you're just like, literally all adults do is stand around and talk. What? What is this crap?
And now we know.
Now I was like, all right. I got you. I do it too. Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. My little kid brain, I'm like, they're not even talking about anything fun. Like, what the crap, man? Hebe, did you also get coffee? We need food and coffee. Wow, look at you. Oh, Future Skeleton, playing werewolves with a group of 30 would be amazing. Yeah, we had brought my bang energy up. There's a family game, which as I've now like talked to other people and kind of discovered a little bit, we always called it Whoopee. Which again, I didn't realize was as funny as a kid as I do now as an adult. The extended family that I then got to meet through my former partner, they call a very almost identical game of it. They call it Pounce. But it's kind of an offshoot of Dutch Blitz. But that was one where as long as you had enough deck of cards, you could have as many people participating in it as you wanted, as long as each person had their own deck of cards. And we would, we'd put the 2 extenders in the table and you'd have, like 8 adults and 3 or 4 kids all around playing this. And like part of it is playing cards out to the center. So you're smashing into each other's hands and there's cards everywhere. And it is the most chaotic thing. And I love it so much. Also, like my mom has 2 brothers and they are incredibly competitive. So any gaming stuff that we did was always like high energy, high competition. Again, I'm all for good sportsmanship, but like super competitive card games, especially like Skip-Bo or Uno or any of those, like I love it so much. I just love it. Excuse me. Okay. Everybody save.
Save.
This is just me, I'm realizing.
I mean, I could tell my Procreate to save, but
just remind it, be like, you're saving, right?
Hey. You're saving, right?
Oh.
Please.
Nicole the Black looks so good. Oh, it's so crisp. I love it. Okay. All right. I will be right back.
After these messages. Kruggles, I don't know what you mean. I don't know what just happened. I don't know how I did this.
I feel like I'm drawing a cinnamon roll on top of her head and I have no idea how to draw a cinnamon roll.
Oh, that's cute.
I keep trying to put the little swirl in and it's just not working for me. It's just not. Maybe that.
Oh, okay. I'm using acrylic ink, so that is why it's so black. Yeah, I couldn't really do this with watercolor because, yeah.
So are you using like ink or acrylic paint?
It's acrylic ink. It's really weird. It's like the consistency is ink-like, but it dries like waterproof. It's very odd.
Huh. Well, if it works, and you're able to do the watercolor on top of it.
Yeah.
Nice.
At least I hope so.
It's not the first time you're using it, is it?
Yes, it is.
Oh.
Well, it is the first time I'm using the black. I have the silver and the gold, but then you don't really paint on top of that, so it's like,
Makes sense. I will cross my fingers it does what you want it to do.
But I feel like it's acrylic ink, and like acrylic dries like waterproof, so I'm like, this should work.
It should. I just don't know what acrylic ink, like, what does that mean? Like, ink
I don't
is usually
know.
like alcohol based. So
I guess, I don't know.
I'm gonna Google it.
I imagine it's just like very liquidy acrylic paint. But they call it acrylic ink because it's so liquid.
That would make sense. Like super watered down acrylic paint.
Yeah.
Acrylic ink. Okay, that doesn't help me. Liquitex, thank you. Okay, here we go. What's the difference between acrylic paint and acrylic ink? Huh. That's exactly what it is. Acrylic ink is a pigment suspended in a thinner medium than acrylic paint. So there you go.
It's really interesting.
That is interesting. The stuff that they come out with, like the new paints and things you can play with.
Okay. Part of what I saw is Nicola's magic. So, yes. I just wanted to make sure that we agreed with that.
We were talking about the fact that I'm using acrylic ink, and then we were like, what is acrylic ink?
Yeah, is it just... please, tell me more. I'm sorry. I could just go back and watch the video later. Make you say it all again.
Oh, no. It was a pretty quick, like... she said that it's probably like, you know, thinner acrylic paint. And I was like, well, I'm going to Google it. And pretty much, yeah.
Okay. So closer to something almost like an India ink with its permanence?
Yeah. But because it's acrylic, it's like 100% waterproof, I guess.
Nice. That's cool. Ah, it's so good. So good. Also, I would just like to take a moment that Kim Possible is drawn and animated digitally. It is very easy to get super clean, crisp lines digitally. It is not as easy to get them in paint, watercolor, marker. So that's especially why she is magic.
Why, thank you.
You're welcome.
Honestly, I think Inktober this year kind of helps with that, because I did a lot of like really stark black lines. So
yeah,
who knew that practice helps?
Yeah, but also like you get to the end of Inktober, you're like, everything hurts. I don't.
Pretty much.
But yeah, no. When I honestly, partially because of Doodle Crew and streaming, like because I've been drawing so much more, I get into the flow of things a lot faster than I used to. And I'm like, it's like that thing that I tell my students every time where if you draw and practice it. Good. Yep.
Oh, you mean advice works?
Yeah.
Good advice actually works.
Good advice actually works. That's incredible. So speaking of crazy, stupid references to things that not a lot of people have ever seen, there is a movie that I love called Fired Up. So it's very cheesy, like two boys don't want to go to football camp because they want to chase tails, so they go to cheerleading camp for the summer. And it's just like, I can't. It's so funny. I love it so much. Like, there's a scene where all the cheerleaders are sitting out on blankets and they're having like a movie night and they're watching Bring It On and they're all saying it line for line. And it just, but anyways, there's one of the characters who they're going to go swimming in the lake later on. It's not a horror movie, so everything's fine. But he goes and he runs and he jumps and he lands in the shallow spot and just like belly flops and he stands up and get out of breath. And he's just like, learn from me. And that's, again, that little clip is in my head all the time when I do these things where I'm just like, learn from me. Yep. Also, Bean says, she's a witch. Yeah, she had the best witchy vibes this season. Let's be real, though.
I tried.
Your room looked so cool. What? Violet, what is happening with your elbow here? What are we doing? Yeah, it's better. What are you doing? Oh, stupid thing. What? Sorry.
Oh
muttering.
no, I had my line disappeared on me.
Yeah.
How I hit back. I don't know what I did.
So Hebe said, so you guys have commission backlogs. I started writing down my game backlog last night and almost started crying. Why do I not finish games? We later learned it's ADHD and the dopamine from getting a new one. Yeah, honestly, the commissions and the new projects, exact same thing, because the new shiny thing is the thing you're excited about. I'm like, I have to work on the new shiny thing. And all of your old projects sit there and say, but what about us? Mother, why? Yep.
Or when you finally
friggin'
dig out your list of goals that you wrote down in like January of this year and you're like, oh no.
Cool. January me was so ambitious. Cool. Yep.
November me doesn't remember half of this. This is not good.
I was like, wait, what was I gonna do? Neat.
Why did I put that as a to-do this year? And it definitely didn't happen. My bad.
Yep. Oh, God. I think I can hide these two. I always love how creepy this part gets because I never remember to color in the whites of their eyes. So that's why you're supposed to start with a color background and not a white background to start. But, you know, I never do that. Because once again, I'm dumb. I'm bad at following my own advice. I don't know what that was. Let me do that. Oh, Hebe, that's awesome. Yeah, I think I will definitely say, because it's something we worked on yesterday on my stream, was my whole goal was to just take all of these random sketch files I had on the computer and just draw them to some sort of completion, whether they stayed black and white, or if I ended up coloring them. Like, take these random sketches like I would in a sketchbook and actually finish them and have things that I could post. So the stream helps with that. But also I'm horrendous at beating and finishing games, so I feel you. I remember when I 100%ed the Spider-Man game, the newer one on PlayStation, and I was just like, I did it? Did I really do it? Like, I've done this. It's been 94 years. That's why I play games like Animal Crossing, because you're never done. There is no end.
There is no cake.
There is no cake. The cake is a lie.
My goal today is to at least get the base colors and at least get to there, so I'm in the Huevember theme.
Although it would be quite the flex to take on this Huevember challenge where you did all these colors, like I picked these specific characters and then just line art them and be like, okay, I'm done. Like, I kind of love that level of trolling. Evie said I finished the Spider-Man game and then I threw the PlayStation in the ocean. Yeet. Yeah, no, my poor PlayStation. I have always been a PlayStation person. It has always been my system. I've never owned Xbox. I've owned very few Nintendo consoles, but once I got the Switch, like, I don't know, it just fits how I like to play. Like, it brings back all my old love of the Game Boy. I almost never play it plugged into my TV. Like, I always play it handheld, and yeah, I have not played a PlayStation game in a while. I also still wrestle with I either don't play any or I play way too much. And there are times when I'm sitting and playing Switch where I'm just like, you really need to be working on art right now. You need to not be doing this. Excuse me. Well, I think so. He was saying I have them all, but I use the Xbox the least. I mean, again, when the Xbox first came out, that Xbox controller was a monster, and I have really tiny hands, so like it just didn't fit comfortably into my hands. I was like, I was playing PlayStation anyways. I'm like, I'm not gonna switch. Also, controversial statement, but I never really cared for Halo. Like, if I was going to play a game like that, I played Unreal Tournament, and I played that on my computer, so.
I just heard something on the internet explode.
I know. I'm just asking for them to come for me at this point. And they're going to call me out and say, well, you were just bad at it. And I would to that say, yes, you're right, I was. But also, I didn't play Halo until I got to college, and by that point, everybody who I was playing with had already been playing for years. And shockingly, they were not super fun to play with because they just kill you over and over again. I'm like, okay, well, that was fun. All right.
Glad we had this exercise in gamer cronyism. I'm gonna go do other things.
Like, well, this match is over in 10 minutes. Okay, I'm gonna go to the kitchen. I'll see you in 10 minutes. Yeah. That's okay. Then, not long after that, I discovered Kingdom Hearts, and all was right in the world. Yes. Like, excuse me, everything I loved about Final Fantasy, none of the stuff that I didn't, and it's Disney? Yes.
I will take 3 or 4. What are we on now?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it just I still don't understand the story, but I'm gonna keep playing. Also, I'm laughing because I've been watching the American Playboy like docu-series that's on Amazon Prime, which is all about Playboy, which is gorgeously produced, and I'm enjoying the heck out of it because I didn't know a lot of the backstory of it. So when you said I mainly play Halo for the story, I was like, I just read it for the articles. Which I then found out like what they were doing during like Malcolm X years and Martin Luther King Jr. years. Like they were publishing stories that other magazines weren't running. So for a while, I was like, oh, I get the joke now. Like it actually was a thing. There really were good articles. So, slow to pick up, but I got there. Also, let's just say that, you know, I was probably not their target demographic. Also, at this point in the docuseries, I'm only up to the 70s, the early 70s. So, in the timeline of the real world, Emily was not born yet. So,
It must be lunchtime. I hear cupboards being slammed upstairs.
so has the little one picked up the cooking bug like you and Matt, or not much yet?
I can confirm that she is going to grow up to be someone who stirs the pot, both literally and figuratively.
Oh boy.
Other than that, she hasn't taken that much of. I don't know, to be honest. I don't have comparison. She is interested sometimes when there's something bubbling on the pot. She wants to see what it is. Baking, she loves baking because she gets to stir it and then taste sugar. So, you know, that's a win-win. Yeah. But like when we're chopping veggies or when we're trying to talk to her about different flavors, she's not quite interested. She is interested when she gets to taste something or see something cool. So overall, no, but yes, maybe.
Okay, nope, that's fair. I feel like that's
I mean, she's definitely not a picky eater, and she'll try almost anything. So that's a good start.
Yeah. No, that's huge, especially at her age, because
yeah, we were watching something on TV. I don't know if it was a commercial, like those vintage commercials you can watch on YouTube, or if it was actually a show or something. And one of the kids was like, "Ew, broccoli," and she's like, "I don't get it." And I'm like, "Good, you keep not getting it, kid. Keep eating your broccoli. It's fine."
Yeah, that was me with spinach. Like I loved spinach. I still love spinach. I was like, I don't know why everybody's down on spinach. But I've I've pretty much been a trash panda my entire life. Like my parents would be like, "Here, eat this." I'm like, "Okay,
Sure, why not?
sure, why not?"
See, I didn't think I liked spinach, and I think I've told you this, but that was because I grew up on canned spinach, like Popeye's spinach, and
Yeah,
it ain't the same.
no, that is a very different experience. Yeah, with Mom being such an avid gardener, there was a lot of fresh fruits and vegetables that we got to enjoy, which makes a difference.
Mhm.
Apparently, I just missed their shoes. I think I'm going to close toe that. 'Cause as much as your tights with open sandals are cute, my dear, we're going to just give you actual closed toe shoes.
Artist decision.
Yep.
Artistic liberties.
Were you a picky eater as a kid, Nicole?
Surprisingly, no.
Okay.
But I'm a picky eater now. No, honestly, I've always hated like tomatoes. I don't know what it is about them. I hate them so
Yeah.
much.
No, that's-
Same with onions and olives.
Okay.
But like I love spinach and broccoli and just greens in general, so I guess just picky in a different way.
Yeah. Also, I think it's always interesting to me as an adult, if you are also cooking for yourself, you can be as picky as you want because someone else isn't preparing it for you. You know, when
This
you're
is
a
true.
kid, you're just like,
I made it and you're gonna like it.
mhm. Or you know what? Even if you don't like it, you're gonna eat it.
Yep.
Yep. Who needs to connect their lines? Ha. Oh, so you are not an olive person either?
Olives are delicious.
Ew.
Yeah, I like them too.
No,
I was
I
wondering
don't judge.
with the tomatoes, I always found that was an acidity thing. Like acidity is a very specific like tactile response. Olives are- well, if all of us go out to eat at some point, you can give me all of your olives. I will give you my raw onions, and yeah, I'm trying to think. I will eat all your tomatoes.
And I usually collect the pickles at
Oh,
restaurants. Nobody else
yeah.
seems to like pickles, so
I like pickles. Yeah. No, don't color on the wrong layer, Emily. Don't do it. Don't do it. Hear voices in the background.
I hope you can't hear what's going on back there.
I can't hear specifics, but I hear voices.
All right, we'll just leave it at that. No, they're having a good time, but in case you guys didn't know, farts are funny.
You know, farts are always funny. That's true. Hebe. Crack me up. All right. Still can't hear what's being said, but I'm enjoying your laughter.
I don't know if anybody's ever seen Bluey, but I imagine that's what's going on at the moment, is that instead of playing piano or something, we have a farting gun happening. I don't know what's going on. She's having a blast. That's all I know.
Hey man, if you can keep a toddler that happy, that's the win.
That is the win.
Yeah, it's funny. We've we've talked about Bluey a few times, and I think it's funny because if Randall were here, he would have some specific thoughts on Bluey, but I rather enjoy Bluey.
Oh, he's not a fan?
He is not a fan. No, he does not subscribe to the... Oh, is that me doing the thing? Okay. Well, it's good, because I've literally touched nothing.
But we are streaming, so obviously something's gotta be temperamental.
I already streamed twice earlier this week and it was fine, so
Technology.
I need to yeah, see, Hebe confirms. Good thing Randy's not here. He hates Bluey. Yeah. I like Bluey. All right. I think I've changed my mind about how I want to do my shadows. Yeah, okay. Before we do that. Oh, do it on a different layer. Yeah, no, Bean, you're right. And I think I need to just suck it up and replace one of the cords to my sound box, because I'm pretty sure that's what's shorting out and causing the issues. The mic that I'm using I got from Tony P, and he never had any issues with it, so I doubt that it's it. Hi. Hello there. Is it time? Is it cat time? Hi. Yeah. Thank you. Cat, I love you, but you make it very challenging. It's not until she's like up with me where I realize just how much I use my left hand to switch hotkey stuff. And I'm just like, I can't.
I know.
Hi. Hello. Hello there.
I'm going to be right back, guys.
Oh, hello. Hi. Thank you for your headbutts. Yep, and your butt. Thank you. Thank you for your butt. Nope. Hebe says, I have to leave the house to pick up one of my partner's Christmas gifts, and I don't wanna. Hi. You have a little cold, wet nose. The amount of concentration it's taking me to like hold her and balance and try and draw straight lines. Oh, cat. Oh, have I been coloring on the wrong layer? Rats.
Well, you know what time it is.
I do. Oh, I blame you, cat. I blame you. Whoop, not like that. Boop. Yeah. Hi. Thank you. I don't know what your plan is, but tail.
She looks very comfortable.
I am just here for her entertainment. Let's be real. I don't even know if that selected the color I wanted. Yeah, it did. Okay, cool. Nope. Okay. Hi. There we go. Takes a launch right off of my chest, and I always have to kind of like brace a little bit because it's.
Oh, you guys, you're sure looking so good.
Thank you.
Oh, yours is awesome, though.
Happy. What up, Theo Butt Kurt? Hello, welcome. We're drawing pretty colorful ladies.
I went upstairs and I was like, what was just happening? And Matt's like, did they hear us? And I'm like, well, I had to explain what I thought was happening. He's like, yeah, I was basically running around in the living room holding our daughter like a bazooka. I'm like, that's what I figured.
Oh gosh. Also, it's great because I can picture him saying that, and it just tickles me so much. I am selfishly, I enjoy so much when Megan's husband is able to come to Comic-Con and hang out because he brings the most beautiful, positive, excited energy to it, and he makes everything better.
He does. It's always a joy when he gets to come to one.
Aw, old man Kurt. What are you kids drawing? I love you, Kurt. Yes, he be. So I am drawing 2 of my version of characters from Rainbow Brite. So I am drawing Shy Violet and Lala Orange, which I would be shocked if you knew because I don't think you probably watched a lot of Rainbow Brite. And then, yes, Megan is working on all of the very colorful sisters of Ariel's from the Little Mermaid. So, who all have crazy names. Also, I like that you've got their names written above their heads. That makes me really happy.
I have to remember who's who. Gosh.
Yeah, no, it makes complete sense to me, and I love it. And bonus for you, Kurt, I almost went more obscure. So, you know. But I know Megan and I have talked about, like, there are times where a lot of this is just, especially stuff we make for Comic-Con, like, we just draw it because we want it, and there's not necessarily a market for it, but it brings us joy, and maybe, just maybe, we'll get one person who's like, oh, I really like this random thing that you drew. Although it's come back to bite me sometimes with, like, if I draw, oh gosh, I think I drew something from Teen Titans. And then everybody was always like, oh, do you have this? Or do you have this? Or do you have this? And I'm like, no, I just literally drew this one character. I did nothing else. Sorry.
Yeah, I drew like 2 or 3 things from the She-Ra Princess of Power series just because I was like, I want to make a little Adora and little Catra sticker. And then I drew Scorpia because I love her so much. And everybody's like, oh, you have more? And I'm like, no, that was it. And then the ADD took over and I was on to another fixation. And I just am never probably going back to that. I'm sorry.
Yep. Talk to me about my Gotham Girls playing card set, which I had numerous people ask me if I was going to draw an entire set of 52. And I'm like, you know, that's 52 drawings, right? But also like, which characters are you going to do next? And I'm like, I literally don't know. I don't. And then I never did anymore. So, yep. It's good. All right. Okay, so no, Kurt knew of Rainbow Brite, but knew nothing about it. Yeah, it was, I mean, I had it on VHS. Like, I don't think it even got big time syndication or anything. I don't know how we came across it as children. I just had a VHS of it. It might have even been taped off of PBS at one point. I do not know.
One of the networks did play it as part of its lineup. I think it came on either before or after Care Bears, but don't ask me which channel that was.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, again, it's not I don't think it was an American production originally, but it definitely had American syndication. So. Yeah, but that would make sense in a block with Care Bears. That would fit. Which I liked the one Care Bear movie, but I was never a huge Care Bear person.
So I don't know where I got it, but I got the Care Bear movie on DVD. And I honestly don't remember it being that bad. It is, the story's fine. Like, the story's fine. But the animation quality and the colors and just like, it's like horrendous. It looks like something that somebody would have produced as like a fan film or like straight to TV. Like, how did this become their major production for Care Bears? I don't understand.
And
it's got decent voice actors. Like, oh god, who plays the old guy narrating? It's like a well-known voice actor. And you get introduced to the Care Bear cousins,
which I loved.
Which was a whole new thing that they brought into the TV show, I think, I think at least one more season. I don't know how much of Care Bears actually exists, but it's
don't come for me with my Care Bear lore. I don't know.
I don't know the facts. I'm going off of memory, and my memory is not that great because it's been forever. Okay.
Forever.
But yeah, no, you introduce a whole new set of characters. It's your huge production that was supposed to be like launch this whole new line of Care Bears, and it's just it's not pretty.
Is this the one where they go to the summer camp? Is it that one, or is it a different one? Because the summer camp one is the only one I ever remember. Oh no, get out of here with that, Kurt. Was it really Mickey Rooney?
I think it was. Gosh. I could go run upstairs and grab the DVD if you guys really want. No, I know there was. I think there was another Care Bears movie, but this one I thought was the first one because it introduced the Care Bear cousins. But it's about a kid who is a magician's assistant, and he finds a cursed book, and they basically want to turn everyone in the world evil, like remove all feelings.
Yep, as you do.
And two orphans are like trying to be his friend to make him feel again, and the Care Bears and Care Bear cousins have to help, but Care-a-Lot's like crumbling because nobody has feelings anymore.
Oh.
Megan explains a movie plot badly. That's what you get today.
I love it. But also, like, as I'm sitting here listening to you talk about it, like, I'm having all of these feelings of like, no, this was such a like similar plot point to so many stories that we watched, and I was bought in on it as a kid. Like, I didn't need any more explanation. I didn't need anything. I was bought in. Okay, so I love this. Care Bear, Kurt says, Care Bear 2, Care Bears 2, the hunters become the hunted. He says, Care Bears 3, Vendetta.
Oh,
God. All right, what are you messing around with my moderation settings? What got modded? I can't talk anymore today. I don't have anything open. Why are you trying to break my stream, Hebe? Don't let you be foul. We tried to. I mean, I rolled all of the all of the language barriers back, but I think I'd already taught it too much, and it's always the magician starting with the cursed books. Always is.
Like, you'd think these magicians would eventually learn not to leave their interns or assistants alone ever, because then they, make mops clean until they flood the whole office, things like that happen, or they destroy the world or turn all people into frogs. It's not a good idea to leave them unsupervised.
Oh my gosh, the Sorcerer's Apprentice stresses me out so much. Like, stressed. Like, anxiety, not okay with it. I'm just like, stop me, stop, Mickey, stop!
Like, pay attention. Wake up. Make it stop.
Yeah, that's so weird because it's not like I'm not seeing any options for me to like allow it or disallow it. I don't know. I've given up and accepted that the stream has a mind of its own now. That's a good one. It's neat until it's not. Yes. I agree.
I just realized. I mean, I know I don't like drawing cars, but I just realized that I'm missing a whole front seat.
Ah!
Oops. My bad.
There's enough of them.
It's fine. This is
just
fine.
Standing in front of it. Yeah, when you said drawing it in the car, I was just like, you are an insane person. That's.
I don't know why this is a good idea. I really don't.
Well, and I hate it too because then I get it in my brain and I can't let go of the idea, even though I'm just like, this is going to be so much work. Just pick a different thing. And I was like,
yeah.
No.
Who suggested this again?
Coming for you, Vic.
Coming for you
with your brilliant ideas that are so much work.
I mean, what did he say? Get in. We're fin flopping something.
Yeah, they said. Oh, let me pull that back up. Where is it? I gotta find it now. Oh, that's not. Oh my god. Yes, so Idstar, who's Vic, said they said do them as humans, but like the plastics for Mean Girls, get in fish, we're going flopping.
Ah, that was it.
So
yeah.
Good.
And then I couldn't get it out of my head, and I'm like, well, shoot.
Now I have to. Yeah.
And then I was like, I'll totally have time to do the sketch, and I didn't.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There's something about I'm forcing myself to do like cell shading on this, so really block in the color shadows and everything, which I always chicken out at a certain point and go back and like fuzz all the edges, so I'm really trying not to. But I'm having this thing where like when I'm looking at it up close, I really hate it, but when I zoom out, I was like, oh, that actually doesn't look too bad. Surprise. Also, oh my god, the green power coming from her hands looks so dope. Oh!
It's a process.
I love it. Also, I'm just chuckling thinking about like Kurt popping in to say hi, and then we immediately make him talk about Care Bears for the next 10 minutes, and I am here for it. Hey, he's got a cute little grandbaby. These are things, this is not going to be a weird conversation. He's going to have lots of those.
And even if it is a weird conversation, welcome.
Yeah. Hi. Have you been in my streams before? This is what we do. This is how this works. Again, because I live my life based on movie quotes, all I can think of is the scene in Groundhog's Day where the innkeeper asked Bill Murray, you know, it's like, well, you know, what do you think the weather's going to be like? And he starts, because he's a weatherman, he goes into, he's like, well, we're going to have this front pushing up, but it's not going to make it past Altoona, and it should be this. And then he stops and he's like, did you not want to talk about the weather? Just cracks me up. You brought it up. Did you not want to talk about Care Bears? Oh, yeah. No, Kurt, you did a show with Phil. I am positive this doesn't even scratch the surface of weirdest conversations. So, also, excuse me. That's not where you belong. Yeah, you know. You know. Not sure it's the weirdest conversation today. Excuse me. That's fair. Oh, Hebe, are you a snow bunny? Do you enjoy the snow? Kurt, your granddaughter isn't to the point of talking yet, is she? Like actual conversation? I don't know. I don't know when that happens. I'm sorry. It doesn't make any sense to me. Aw, I love snow. Yeah, Pittsburgh was always super weird when it came to snow, because I feel like it's in that weird little bubble where sometimes it'll get stuff, but a lot of times it just gets missed. Just recorded a show about who puts on people's clothes and becomes a hitman. Well, that's fantastic. Right? Like, people in Pittsburgh forget how to function in the snow or the heavy rain. And I'm like, we're the Northeast. Why are you struggling? Oh my gosh. Kurt, stop it. She's 2 already? Stop. I feel like she was just a little nugget like 6 months ago. Oh my gosh. I can't with it. It's too fast. Yeah. Yeah, the effect that COVID has had on my brain and my ability to understand time for the past 2 years has been rough. It's been rough.
Yeah, I love how you'll sit there and think, oh yeah, that was 2 years ago. Never mind.
Yeah, like I'll get talking about stuff. I was like, yeah, 2019. 2 years ago. Vera, come on, man. What are we doing? Did she just go crashing into my ring light? Yes, she did. Cat. Cat.
She's like, I want to be up in your face again. Why is that not happening?
Seriously. Apparently she's got like a 2-hour range until she requires additional attention. I'm like, baby, no. Oh, my love. Stop it, microphone. Okay. Tell those good sounds or those bad sounds? Okay. Focus. I think we're going to we're going to use you, Nicole, as our timekeeper to keep us honest. So when your piece is done, because both Megan and I were like, let's draw more things. More.
I'm okay with that. I do have some touch-ups left, so.
Okay. All right. So I figure we're probably in the final, like, 20 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. I can get to a stopping point then.
I could get to color. I can make it happen.
Yeah. Thank you, Hebe. Save my work.
Does anybody else feel fashion is like super weird? Like I pulled these outfits to draw, and I look at the outfit and I'm like, yeah, that's kind of cute. And then I start to draw it and I'm like, this is bizarre. Who would wear this?
Yes. Yes, I feel that constantly. And I'm super weirded out because all the like 20-somethings who work at the winery are now wearing crop tops and mom jeans and like high top. And I'm just like, and like the tattoo chokers and the scrunchies. And I'm like, what?
The stuff that was not cool is now cool?
I guess. I don't know. So to say I don't understand is, yep. What up, Guardian Randy? He says, the colors, Duke. The colors. Yeah. Cat. What are you doing? Don't even think about it. Urge to just yell, not the mama. Hang on. Hey! Get out of there. What are you doing? What are you doing? What? 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 It's been 2 hours. Okay. Well, that was a trick.
Hmm?
I managed to mute my mic at one point, and I don't know when. It's fine. I was definitely not saying anything of importance, so.
Did you say the tattoo chokers are back?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me look one up. Oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Cool.
Oh, that's not the tool I wanted at all. Well, Kurt, you always look handsome, so you're doing it right. This one is what's bugging me. I think as I've gotten older, I mean, again, I don't care about many things as much as I did in high school, but also it's does it fit? Am I comfortable? Do I kind of look cute? Sure.
The adult fashion metrics. Does it fit? It's not been in my closet too long and it's comfortable. Yeah, that works. I'll throw it on.
No holes in the wrong places, like, or at least not super visible. But you're gonna have to come and pry leggings from my cold dead fingers, because I can now basically wear pajamas out in the world and look cute, and I'm never going back ever. So yeah. It was I remember when leggings were like initially, obviously, the way I wear them is I treat them more like tights. So I still, cover my bum. But there was one girl who's making a comment about it and be like, yeah, you can come for me all you want, but you're going to lose this fight because I've got the full range of motion of my legs. And I was just like, I love it so much. I love it so much. But also, yeah. And it's funny too, because I've been literally wearing like leggings or something similar in dance for so many years. So I was like, yeah, now I'm just upgrading my dance outfits a little bit, and I'm happy with it. And my desire to sit in anything that's not super comfortable anymore is just no. Like, I mean, I have to wear a specific polo for work sometimes, but even that, like, they worked hard to find us ones that were really pretty comfortable. So it's there are very few times now where I have to be in clothing that I did not personally pick. Kind of awesome.
That is awesome. I know the day that I found out that colored jeans were technically not jeans for my workplace dress code, I was like, oh, guess who's coming in purple pants?
Yeah. I'm ready. I love it. Oh, Nicole, that looks so good.
The funny thing about watercolor is that it's so random, and these two look completely just different. But it's fine.
You ask yourself, do you want to do highlights?
Do it.
Do it, the voice says.
Learn the ways of the color dodge.
I don't even know where that came from. Oh, did I just scooch it? Is that what I did? Yeah, I did. Okay, let's not do that. I'm going to start using the snap eraser instead, because hard eraser just refuses to cooperate. So, meh. Oh, she's reminding me of trying to think. Like that character's giving me vibes, but I can't figure out who it's reminding me of.
The one I'm working on?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with the Coke bottle glasses. Like I think it's a little bit of the one character from My Witch Academia?
Okay, yeah,
My
I
Little
can see
Academia.
that.
No,
Yeah,
Little
Witch
Academia.
Academia. Yeah.
There it is. Wow. Did you watch Emily just have a stroke on stream?
Yeah, no, now that you said that, yeah. I was trying to figure it out too, because I gave her a haircut. This is supposed to be Arista. And but I was like, I'm just gonna give her a haircut. The only two I really changed up was Arista and Aquata. I gave her like the shaved sides, but the rest I kind of kept the same.
Also, every time you say their name, all I want to do is after Arista. Oh, also Kurt though. No, you're absolutely right. It is giving me big Daria vibes. That's the other one. I think it's those two smashed together. Yeah. No, that's such a good call.
It's the tattoo necklace, isn't it? Oh.
Also, again, this is a thing I would have thought that streaming would have broke me of, but there are times when I'm making certain lines where I will make sound effects to go along with them. And I was absolutely still doing that when I was teaching the other weekend. And the adorable gentleman who was helping out with that class, like he kept chuckling to himself. I'm just like, you're just so weird. Like you're not even hiding it. It's just so weird. I told the kids, I was like, you have to make sound effects. It's important.
Or faces. You also have to make faces.
Yes.
It's required.
Again, thinking of a movie with The Incredibles when they're like, Mom, you're doing it again. She's, no, I'm not. Yep.
I'm not even gonna lie. When we were in the first baby food stage, I totally did that.
Once again, I feel like if that's what it takes to get them to eat, all bets are off. Just remember how much my sister used to scream at mealtime. If a train or a plane or something would have stopped her, I would have employed anything to get the screaming to stop.
This is a problem when all the characters look the same. I pulled the wrong eye color.
No.
And I'm just like, oh, I got to do Aquatas now. And I'm like, wait, I thought hers was brown. No, they're green. What just happened? What?
Make it pink. Make it blue. Pink.
Make it blue. Oh yeah. I actually found and I'm actually sad I sold it now, but I actually found a Disney pin at a secondhand store of Aurora in the dress, and it would spin, and one side was pink and one side was blue. And I was like, I could keep this or I could sell it. I'm like, I'll just throw it up. If nobody buys it, you know, it's fine, whatever. And it sold out like the first day. And I was like, okay. And now I regret it because I would really like to have that just to spin it and just amuse myself.
What up, Simkin? Good morning. Oh, I guess at this point, good afternoon. What are you doing? Not you, Simkin. My cat. Excuse me, ma'am. What? Okay. Well, if anybody would like to see what my cat was just doing, I took pictures. Hit me up in the Discord. You can see what she's. Okay. Oh, cool. That sounds fun, Simkin. All right, Nicole, have you reached your conclusion?
For now.
For now?
Yeah, I'll go back in once everything is dry. So,
all right.
Yeah, we're good.
All right. Yeah, we can get to a stopping point. We're pretty close. Yeah. All right. Do you want to go first and show and tell?
Yay.
Yeah. Get over it. Beep. Beep.
Let me see if my camera focuses. Yay.
Oh my gosh. That green highlight to outline her arm.
Yeah. So the funny thing is, I was like, oh, you know, I'm not going to go in with anything opaque, right? Because it's watercolor and that's what watercolor does. But then I had to for like the glow of her hands because I didn't sketch it out. So, But yeah, all the rest is like me carefully drawing around lines, which was fun.
That's incredible. Oh, that looks so cool. I love it. That turned out so good. Like, you got the facial expression, the pose is great, the colors are great. It turned out so beautiful.
Yay.
I love it. All right, and where can people find more of your wonderful, amazing art?
You can find me pretty much everywhere at Mayor Squish or at Mayor Squish Art. You can also check out my Etsy. It's a little bit bare right now because I'm kind of reworking it and taking screenshots, or not screenshots, taking pictures of everything again to make them look prettier and stuff. But
screenshots in real life.
In real life, I know. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. I'm gonna call out. Oh, Okay. All right. I don't know what you're doing, but Randall says I love it.
Yay.
Did it actually do the thing? It did. Okay. I don't know. StreamYard's just yelling at me. All right. Megan, are you at a point where you could share?
I'm getting as far as I guess I'm getting, but at least I have some color.
You do. No, you do. Considering you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 characters, almost full body. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I hid the one behind the others. Sorry, I cheated, but you know, it's fine.
Nope, that's well planned.
Yeah, no. So yeah, each of the characters has a color, and I'll be finishing it up. But I realized a lot of my line art doesn't have lines to close gaps, so there'll be a lot of doing that before I color fill the rest of it. But I at least got the idea down.
Yep.
But you guys can find me online at Megan C Creates across social media. I also have a Kickstarter that is going to be finishing up here soon for some kawaii pins. So if you like enamel pins or you like the Lunar New Year, it hits both of those marks. So check it out.
Yay! Yeah. And you also have an Etsy.
I do. I have an Etsy as well, where I sell lots of goodies. I just threw up some new stuff. I found zipper wallets and note cubes. So I threw those up. Those are pretty fun. And there's a sale going on. So
yay! Excellent. Yes, order now because as we discussed earlier, shipping might be a thing.
It might very well be a thing.
Awesome. Oh, it turned out so fun. I'm so excited to see it colored. Like, it just looks so cool.
Thank you.
Yay. All right. Excuse me. Yep. There we go. There's my. There you go. There's my cute little Lala orange and shy violet. It's slightly updated outfits, but yeah, they were fun. And I had to put a rainbow in the background because they're from Rainbow Brite. Like, this just make logical sense. Yeah, this is fun. Oh, microphone, why?
No, they are super cute. I've always liked Lala's little beret, and you did so good on updating their outfits a little bit. They look so cute.
Yeah, they were fun. Like, it was really also like Lala has a high-low dress, and I'm just like, yeah, all right. So bringing that back was very, very fun. So yeah, I don't know. I might. I had to kind of see how this one would go to see if I was going to be ambitious like Megan and draw the rest of the color kits, and we'll see. We'll see how we do. But yeah, if you want to find more of me, I'm around the internet all over the place at a swan named Emily. That's where all my stuff is. I'm doing better about updating my Instagram, so you will see more of my art popping up there. Pretty much everything. I also have an Etsy, although I haven't uploaded anything new. Maybe before Christmas, maybe not. We'll see. But I'm trying to get new stuff up in there. Yeah. And if you want to see more, as always, follow this channel. This is where Doodle Crew lives. This is where Sketching Shakespeare lives and my own personal art stream. So if you want to see that, like I said, and the little banner at the bottom, if you want to find out any more about any of the other artists who are on Doodle Crew, head over to our link tree. That's got all the contact info. All the old episodes are over on my YouTube. So all the places you can find stuff or hit us up on social media. Follow us across the internet at Doodle Crew Draw if you want to see all of these awesome art pieces. And yeah, send us prompts, send us ideas, send us your own art from at home because we'd love to see that too. And thank you so much, everybody who hung out with chat with us today. And, you know, happy Saturday morning cartoons. We love you. Goodbye.
Bye.